Let me ask you something, and I want you to be honest with yourself. When was the last time you said what you really thought, knowing it would cost you something? When was the last time you drew a line in the sand and held it, even when she cried, your boss threatened, or the crowd turned against you? When was the last time you felt like a man who could not be moved? For most of you, it has been a long time. And you probably cannot even pinpoint when it started. It was not one big moment. It was 1,000 small surrenders. A compromise here, a white lie there, a boundary you let slide, an opinion you swallowed, a mission you abandoned for comfort, a sexual advance you didn't make because you feared rejection, a raise you didn't demand because you feared conflict, a truth about your father you buried because it hurt too much. Until one day, you woke up and realized you do not recognize the man in the mirror. He is tired. He is soft. He says yes when he means no. He apologizes for things that are not his fault. He avoids conflict like it is poison. He masturbates to pixels instead of pursuing real women. He hands the reins to everyone else, his girlfriend, his boss, his friends, and hopes they will steer him somewhere good. And worst of all, he has no idea how he got here. But I will tell you exactly how. Here's the brutal biological truth no one will tell you. Women are hardwired to feel visceral revulsion toward emotional dependency in men. Not annoyance, not frustration, biological disgust. When you text her twice in a row asking if she's okay, when you seek constant reassurance about her feelings, when you orbit her like she's the sun, you trigger the same response as weakness in nature. She doesn't choose this reaction. Her body decides for her. This isn't cruelty. It's survival programming from 200,000 years of evolution. A woman's nervous system constantly scans. Can this man handle pressure? Will he fold when the tribe is threatened? Can he provide when resources are scarce? Every time you beg for validation, you fail that test. Every "do you still love me?" is received as "I cannot handle uncertainty." Every "whatever you want" translates to "I have no direction to offer." Starting tomorrow, initiate 0 texts, calls, or check-ins with any woman for 48 hours. Feel the panic rise. Feel your fingers itch for the phone. Don't act on it. This isn't manipulation. It's reprogramming your nervous system to operate from abundance, not scarcity. They told you love conquers all. They lied. Financial instability kills attraction faster than infidelity. Not because women are gold diggers, but because resources equal safety in her primal brain. You lost your job and thought she'd support you. She did, for about 3 months. Then the resentment started, the distant looks, the comparison to her friend's husband who just got promoted, the sudden interest in her career. A man who cannot provide, not luxuries but stability, becomes a liability rather than a leader. This isn't modern. This isn't cultural. This is embedded in the deepest parts of sexual selection. You don't need millions. You need momentum, direction, the demonstrated ability to handle resources, create opportunity, and solve financial problems without falling apart. List every purchase in the last month that she influenced. Cut 50% immediately. Not to punish her, to reclaim your financial frame. Track every dollar for 30 days. Know exactly where your money goes. A man who doesn't control his money doesn't control anything. Look at your 5 closest male friends. How many of them would tell you the truth if you were destroying your life? How many would call you out for weakness? How many are themselves strong, directed, purposeful men? The male friendship crisis isn't just loneliness. It's the absence of masculine sharpening. You chose safe friends, drinking buddies, gaming partners, men who won't challenge you because they're drowning in the same weakness. Your isolation is partly their failure, but mostly your choice. You picked men who wouldn't threaten your comfort, who wouldn't demand growth, who would let you stay soft because they needed you soft to feel better about their own surrender. Meanwhile, women maintain fierce friendships that include brutal honesty. They tell each other hard truths. They demand better. And they're watching you have surface-level conversations about sports while your life falls apart. Modern culture often rewards compliant men over strong ones. Men who follow. Men who consume. Men who do not ask questions. Men who apologize for existing. Why? Because strong men are dangerous. Not to their families, not to their communities, but to systems of control. A man with discipline cannot be sold junk food and antidepressants. A man with boundaries cannot be manipulated by guilt. A man with purpose does not need external validation. A man with sexual confidence doesn't need pornography. A man with financial power can't be controlled through debt. And a man who thinks for himself does not believe their lies. Here's what you won't admit. Your father either failed to show you masculine strength, or his version of it was so brutal you rejected it entirely. Either way, you're rudderless. If he was weak, you learned that men fold. If he was absent, you learned that men leave. If he was violent, you learned that strength means cruelty. If he was perfect in public but weak at home, you learned that masculinity is performance. You've been trying to become a man without a map. Guessing. Performing what you think strength looks like. But performance isn't power, and everyone can smell the difference. Write 3 specific moments where your father failed you. Not to blame, to see the blueprint of your own weakness. Where he folded, you fold. Where he raged, you suppress. Where he was absent, you're hyper-vigilant. See the pattern. That's where the work begins. You think it's harmless, a release, a habit. But you've trained your arousal system to respond to pixels instead of presence, to variety instead of depth, to performance instead of connection. Every session deepens the groove. Arousal without risk, climax without conquest, satisfaction without effort. You've become a sexual spectator in your own life. Meanwhile, she feels it. Women know, not consciously, but instinctively, when a man's sexual energy is scattered across 1,000 screens, when his edge has been dulled by endless availability of artificial stimulation. You don't pursue her because porn is easier. You don't initiate because you already released. You don't lead sexually because you've forgotten how to want something you have to work for. 5 minutes of direct eye contact with yourself daily. No looking away. No phone nearby. Just you and your reflection. This isn't vanity. It's presence training. A man who can't hold his own gaze can't hold anything. When she loses respect, it's not because you're a bad man. When your peers dismiss you, it's not because you're incompetent. When the world walks past you like you're invisible, it's not because you don't matter. It's because you were sold a lie about what strength means. You became soft where you needed to be firm. Passive when you should have drawn the line. Silent when truth demanded your voice. You were told that masculinity was toxic, that aggression equaled violence, that standing alone made you problematic, that your desire was dangerous, that your anger was evil, that your nature itself was wrong. So you bent. You apologized for taking up space. You asked permission to have an opinion. You let her lead. Your boss dominate. The crowd decide. Because that's what good men do, right? Wrong. Here is where we start. Not with grand gestures, not with overnight transformation, but with one decision. I will not comply with lies. Not her lies. Not your boss's lies. Not the government's lies. Not culture's lies. and most importantly, not your own lies. Because you have been lying to yourself for years. I am happy. You are numb. I am being kind. You are being weak. I will stand up tomorrow. Tomorrow never comes. She respects me. She's already planning her exit. I don't need male friends. You're dying in isolation. Porn isn't affecting me. You haven't initiated in months. For the next 24 hours, I want you to notice every time you fold. Rate your physical response. Racing heart, tight chest, clenched jaw, shallow breathing, stomach drop. Your body knows when you betray yourself. Start listening. Over the next 11 episodes, we are going to rebuild you from the ground up. But now you know what we're really fighting. Biological disgust, financial impotence, friendship poverty, father wounds, and sexual death by pixels. Episode 2. You will learn the discipline foundation, how to keep promises to yourself so you can command respect from others. Episode 3. You will learn to set sacred boundaries, lines that do not move, no matter who is crying. Episode 4. You will discover your mission, the purpose that makes you magnetic. Episode 5. You will anchor in something eternal, God, truth, lineage, so temporary storms cannot shake you. Episode 6. You will build brotherhood, a tribe of men who sharpen you, not soften you. Episode 7. You will master your emotions, feel deeply, act wisely. Episode 8. You will reclaim your body, physical strength as spiritual practice. Episode 9. You will learn to lead her, not control, not follow. Lead. Episode 10. You will start building legacy, wealth, work, impact that outlives you. Episode 11. You will prepare for battle because chaos is coming and weak men will be victims. Episode 12. You will integrate it all into an unshakable code, the man you were always meant to be. But it starts here, with Episode 1, with this moment, with you deciding, I have been asleep long enough, I have been silent long enough, I have bent enough. Not anymore. You did not lose yourself overnight. It was 1,000 small compromises, 1,000 quiet surrenders, 1,000 moments where you chose comfort over character. But here is the good news. You reclaim yourself the same way. One decision at a time. One boundary at a time. One hard truth at a time. You do not need to be perfect. You just need to start moving. Because the man you are meant to be, he is not some distant fantasy. He is buried under years of lies, fear, and compliance. And it is time to dig him out. Welcome to the journey. Episode 2 begins next. But the work, that starts now.